So what's the real difference between a good volleyball player and a truly great one? I mean, it's got to be more than just a powerful spike or a high block, right? Whether you're a player on the court, a coach on the sidelines, or a parent in the stands, there's a much deeper game happening. And this is the playbook for that game. A look at the mind, the muscle, and the mastery that really defines a champion. You know, the legendary coach Russ Rose absolutely nailed it with this one. In sports, there's just no standing still. Think about it. The best players you've ever seen, they're never just satisfied. They're always looking for that one tiny edge, that little improvement. And that idea, that drive for relentless growth, is going to be the thread that ties everything we talk about together. So here's our game plan. We've broken it down into 4 key parts. We're going to start with the foundation, the rules and the moves you just have to own. Then we'll dive into the mental game, what makes a champion tick. From there, we'll crack open the coach's playbook to see how winning teams are actually built. And finally, we'll zoom out and look at the big picture, playing the long game for a lifelong love of volleyball. Okay, so where does that journey of constant improvement even begin? It all starts right here with the fundamentals. I mean, before you can even dream of dominating a match, you have to master the basics. This is where the real work happens, on the court with the ball. And you know, the game itself is always evolving. The rules get tweaked to make things safer, fairer, more focused. Like these upcoming changes, banning noisemakers. That's not just about noise. It's about letting players communicate on the court, which is absolutely critical. And harsher penalties for harassing officials? That's all about protecting the game's integrity. These aren't just random rules. They're designed to keep the spirit of competition alive and well. Now, this is a thing of beauty. It's so much more than just a player jumping. Look at that sequence. The coiled ready position primed for action, then the explosive extension up and over the net, and maybe most important, that balanced landing, ready to move to the next play instantly. Every single part of this is designed for maximum effect and immediate recovery. This is exactly how the best players make something so complex look so simple. They've drilled it until it's pure instinct.
Okay, so you've got the moves down. You know the rules like the back of your hand. But what happens when the game is on the line? When the gym is roaring and the pressure is on? That's when the real test starts. And the answer isn't in your muscles, it's in your mind.
And that leads us right here to the mental game, the winning mindset. This is what separates the really talented players from the absolute legends. It's that grit, that resilience, that unshakable belief that turns raw potential into actual championships.
We've all had those moments, haven't we? When it feels like nothing is going your way. A bad call, a shanked pass, it's a score slipping away. But like the great Kerry Walsh Jennings says, these are the moments that truly define you as an athlete. Are you going to let it break you, or are you going to let it build you?
Now, this might sound like the complete opposite, but it's actually 2 sides of the same coin. Her legendary partner, Misty May Trenor, understood that you can't be intense all the time. Think of it like a muscle. You have to push it hard to get stronger, but it also needs time to rest and heal. So stepping away for a bit, that's not weakness, it's a strategy.
That rest isn't about taking it easy. It's about refueling for the hard work that's still to come. And as the great Flo Hyman put it, there's just no substitute for that work. This is the price of greatness, right? The early mornings, the extra reps, all those hours you put in when nobody else is watching.
Because look, you can have all the grit and dedication in the world, but you're still going to fall short sometimes. Failure is just part of the game. It's part of getting better. So the real question isn't if it'll happen, it's how you're going to respond when it does. And Karj Kiraly, maybe the greatest to ever play, gives us the answer right here. Failure is not a dead end. It's a stepping stone. It's the fuel that powers your comeback. So the next time you mess up, don't just forget about it. Use it, learn from it, and let it make you stronger and smarter for next time. But a player's mindset, no matter how tough, is only one piece of the puzzle. They need a guide, right? An architect to help shape their game. If the players are the team's engine, then the coach is the one behind the wheel steering them. And that's where the coach's playbook comes in. And you know, there's no single right way to lead. You've got the democratic style, where the coach empowers players to make decisions and take ownership. It's a partnership. Then there's the holistic style, which is more like a mentorship, focusing on the whole person, not just the athlete. Different teams and different players thrive under different kinds of leadership. Okay, this next idea is a total game changer for coaches. It's a simple shift in thinking with a massive impact. Focus on feed forward instead of feedback. So what's the difference? Well, feedback looks in the rearview mirror at what went wrong. Feed forward looks ahead at how to get it right next time.
It's the difference between "you passed that too tight" and "next time, let's give the setter a bit more room." See?
So how do you actually do this? Well, first, you inspire what's coming next. Then, you make them feel like you're on their side, that you're in it together. And this is huge. You stay calm. Yelling at a player for a mistake just makes them afraid to try again. And that leads to this awesome idea of positive errors. You want your players to be aggressive. A big spike that goes an inch long, that's an easy fix. A timid little tip into the net, that's a dead end.
And in the end, it all comes back to this. As the legendary coach Marv Dunphy said, you just can't freelance in volleyball. Think about the best team you've ever been on. It wasn't just about raw talent, was it? It was about that chemistry, that trust, that feeling of moving as one. Volleyball is like a symphony. Every player has their part, but it's only when they play together in perfect harmony that it becomes something truly special.
A truly great coach doesn't just build a team for a single season. They build athletes for life. Which brings us to our final stop, the culmination of everything we've talked about, playing the long game. This is all about developing players who not only win, but who end up loving the sport for a lifetime.
You know, every elite athlete's journey starts the same way. As a kid, just having fun. There's always this temptation to push young players too hard, too fast, to make them specialize way too early. But that's just a recipe for burnout and injury. The path to the top is a marathon, not a sprint. You have to build that solid foundation first.
And that brings us to this critical ratio for young athletes, 70-30. For kids who are just learning to train, 70% of their time should be in practice, just honing their skills without the pressure. Only 30% should be in actual games. And why is that? Well, practice is the classroom, and games are the final exam. You can't ace the exam if you haven't spent enough time in the classroom learning and, making mistakes. This means we might need to change how we define success in youth sports. It's not just about the scoreboard. It's about the smiles, the high fives, the passion that's being built. The real victory, the truest measure of a successful program, is when your athletes are already excited to sign up again next year. That, right there, is the ultimate win. So, as we wrap this up, just ask yourself, what's my legacy in this sport? Are you just chasing wins for this season, or are you building something that's going to last? Are you creating a culture of teamwork, resilience, and genuine passion? Trophies collect dust, but the lessons you teach, the character you build, and the love for the game you inspire, that stays with people forever, and that is the true power of volleyball.